This is Lions on Tap, a weekly look inside the Lions' Den, presented by Coors Light, the chilled choice and official beer of the BC Lions. Highlights, interviews, and a look ahead to this week's game. Now, here are your hosts, Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski, and the voice of your BC Lions, Bob the Moj Marjanovic.
Welcome to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW. It's the Moj, as the man said. I actually said Bob Marjanovic to be technically sound. Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski coming to you tonight from Boston Pizza, Central City in Surrey. Big thank you to Yash and his crew for having us out here. Of course, they got $13 pizza lunch specials Monday through Friday, 11 to 3. Great deal here at Boston Pizza, Central City in Surrey. Well, Bakes.
Yes.
Another week, another close game, this time against the Edmonton Elks at home.
Yeah, and you're going to have to get used to those, right? We've talked throughout this season of Lions on Tap that a lot of these teams in the Western Division have gotten better, and yeah, I get it. Edmonton's record might not say so. They're 0-4, but another one coming down to the wire, and I look at this. Vernon Adams Jr. yet again has a new favorite target of the week. I think it was Eberhardt who led in receiving this time. You saw Javon Catoy break out player of the week nod today, was recognized for that. So, I know there's a lot of solid fanatics who want to see this team blow some teams out, but the fact that they're getting contributions from everybody is a good thing as well.
Well, Edmonton 0-4. They've lost 3 games by a field goal. The last 2 weeks they've been walk-off field goals by the opposition. The other game they lost by 8 points. So, a very competitive team, a team that despite its record has played some pretty good football and just hasn't made that 1 or 2 plays during the course of a game that propels them to a victory. So I look at that game and, here's the thing with the Lions. There's so much where this team can be better at. And Rick Campbell's talked about it in his post-game interviews. This is a team that's got a lot of things that it can clean up. And once it does, we're talking about a team right now that it's 3-1 that's not firing on all cylinders. Once they start doing that, Nick Kowalski, this could be an extremely dangerous team.
I think the positive, though, is that this team does have the time to clean that up, right? This past game was on Thursday. We're already at Tuesday. That's 5 days later. Rick Campbell likes to give the guys off, so they did have the weekend off, but now they have a full week. And I didn't realize this until Coach Campbell said in the locker room post-game. That was their 4th game in 18 days.
Oh.
They used the short week as motivation, or the short weeks in June as motivation.
3 of them in a row, short weeks.
And now they got a long week here heading into Hamilton.
All right, we can talk about the performance of Vernon Adams Jr., some of the players, both on offense and defense, but, man, Shaun White, what can you say about this guy?
Money.
I know, that's what I used in my call, but, he's absolutely stone cold every time he goes out there. If you're a player on your team, there's probably nothing more demoralizing than, getting into field goal range and watching it go wide left or wide right or whatever. When you have Shaun White as your kicker, you get into field goal range, it's pretty much automatic that you get 3 points.
Yeah, you just relax, and he's 11 of 11 on the year. He's made 28 straight dating back to about the midway point of last season. And how about this? Steve Daniel coming up with this nugget in the game notes. I'm sure you checked this out last week, Moj. You too, Nick. As far as percentage goes, the highest all time. In fact, the 3 highest field goal percentage guys all time all hit walk-offs last week. Shaun White, Rene Paredes, and Lewis Ward with Ottawa. So, pretty cool nugget there. And, Whitey's awesome. Remember when he re-signed here, you kind of thought, okay, he'll come back for another year and then he'll go and do the firefighting thing. But he's put all that on hold. He's talking about kicking for several more years, and that's a motivated guy you like to hear.
Well, I didn't know who he talked to. Maybe you can refresh me on this, but he was saying, it might have been Wally. I don't know who it was, but they said
Wally told him
just keep playing as long as you can keep playing, because once it's over, it's done, right? Milk it as long as you can, and that's what he's doing. And, it's not like he's hanging on. He's still producing at a high clip, which is just amazing for a guy at his age.
Well, I remember last year at the CFL Awards, too, he was, 51 of 54, I think, off the top of my head, and he was up for the West Division Most Outstanding Special Teams Player Award, and we were with him, actually, when he didn't win the award to Toronto's Javon Leake, and he kind of goes, well, I guess I got to miss fewer than 3 of my kicks next year. That's the standard he's at, and he's on pace for it, I guess, this year. But I was thinking about this over the weekend, too, this greatness we have. We have Shaun White going perfect. Vernon Adams Jr., getting 350 yards a game. Like I can't take it for granted, right? Like across the roster is just greatness.
And speaking of the roster and greatness, and the fact that the team participated in a walkthrough workout today at their Surrey practice facility, how about the fact that the walking wounded are no longer walking wounded?
That's right.
Keon Hatcher back practicing with the offense today, the walkthrough. TJ Lee with the defense. Francis Biemi with the defense. And Nathan Cherry, who's coming off an ACL tear, he's ready to go now. So 4 players that were on the 6-man that are probably, and we're here in Calgary, that's probably the launch point for Hatcher and for TJ Lee. But you're talking about 2 all-stars, 2 veteran leaders on both sides of the ball. That's going to be a huge boost. Yeah,
2 weeks from now, those guys are all eligible to come off. And yeah, we've talked. I know you've been at practice most days, and TJ and Hatch are kind of off to the side doing their own drills. They're doing, what are they called? The gassers? What are they called?
I told it today and I can't remember.
Yeah, see, we interviewed, we got some cool content with both these guys coming up down the road here, by the way. So
BCLions.com.
Yes, YouTube, everywhere. So these guys, they haven't exactly been away from the team. They've been part of it. But you can just tell, another week goes by, they're itching to get at it. And Nathan Cherry, that's kind of I don't want to say a forgotten man, but he tore his ACL last August in Saskatchewan in front of family and friends, and just kind of being around him and having his loved ones in the stands kind of yelling over to us, asking us how he was doing. That was kind of gut-wrenching to see that. So, and Francis Biemi, of course, big things were expected year 2, and he's been on the injured list. So, have to feel happy for all these guys.
It is Matt Baker along with Nick Kowalski and yours truly, the Moj, Bob Marjanovic. We are coming to you from Boston Pizza in Central City in Surrey. This, of course, is BC Lions on tap on 980 CKNW, presentation of Molson Coors. It's funny you're talking about Hatch. He might not be practicing, but, man, you can hear him. Because he is like chirping. Anytime somebody makes a catch, somebody gets beat, you can hear him probably like 3 city blocks away.
In Kamloops, 2 years back then, he was coming out, you could always hear him too. And I think TJ's the same thing too, right? He's the vocal leader on defense. I know RP talks about how important that aspect is and how nice it is having TJ around. The Lions social media today, you can see a video of TJ just walking around the defensive huddle and getting dapped up by Thibaut Debaye, Sione Tuihema, Josh Banks. You can see the smiles on their face that they're so excited to have TJ back. And while it may be a couple of weeks away, just having him out there definitely provided a boost.
On a positive note, losing Josh Woods to a torn ACL in the Edmonton game. So many people were expecting big things from Josh Woods, shifting over to the middle to play middle linebacker, and he winds up tearing his ACL, done for the year. I saw him today. He seemed to be in good spirits at the Lions facility. He was in the physio room, but that was a big hit.
Yeah, very big, and it's something we certainly feared at the time, right? When a guy's down and it's quiet, everyone on the field is down on it. Well, people on the benches, too.
I was going to ask you guys, but go ahead, Big. I'll get that in there.
Just saying, everyone down on one knee. You could hear a pin drop there, right? So, yeah, just...
And that's something we talked about with Rick Campbell after the game, Nick, and you guys were down on field level. I mean, when you lose a player, and the players know, right? I mean, they know when a guy's done for the year. They knew Josh Woods was done for the year. When that happens, you got to reset and refocus, right? I mean, that bench, and Rob Fay told us, who was working the sidelines for us, he said, there's a little bit of a dip, and you got to kind of forget it, move on, and, and just keep going.
Well, one of the negatives with my job is while I'm filming the game on the sidelines, I have a 7-inch monitor in front of me, and I saw Ivy kind of fall onto Woods and hyperextend his knee there, and kind of right off that assumption, kind of thought it was something serious, unfortunately, but that's why you have this linebacker depth too, right? Bola Kumbo comes in, slides in already for the injured Ben Haladik, and then AC Ely, a training camp standout, comes in and plays the majority of the second half once Josh went down, and you got Ben Haladik hopefully coming back this week. We'll see how practice goes. Ryder Varga is still another option as a Canadian depth piece, so while Josh is down, the Lions are still in good hands.
And the Ryder Varga, don't go to sleep on him. He missed a lot of training camp because he had mono. But he has regained his weight. Coach Campbell told me the other day that he's been itching to get more reps. So getting Ryder Varga in he's going to be a good player. He's got all the skills. Guy's super smart. I don't know was it engineering degree or something from Saskatchewan?
Mechanical engineering, something like that.
Nuclear science, something like way over my pay scale.
Above the broadcasting realm, that's for sure. Yeah.
Ryder Varga is one of those guys that is extremely intelligent, and man, getting him rolling, it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, Bix, before we get to our guest, who is Chris Schleuger, we'll get into that too, offensive lineman for the BC Lions. Grey Cup, what do we got?
Yeah, Grey Cup. I think we're around 43,000 sold, 43, 44, something like that. So Sunday, November 17th, the 111th edition of the Grey Cup. And it's going to be special. We've talked about the festival. The Jonas Brothers, I know you're excited to take a break from the broadcast at halftime. Get down on the field, get in the mosh pit there, right? So that's a lot of that's been well received, the Jonas Brothers. But festival, I think Lions Den, Riderville, even the Spirit of Edmonton is going to be all under the same roof. Usually those guys, they kind of go separate and do their own thing. But Convention Center West is where it's at. Zip lining, I know you and Julio are planning.
We're doing tandem.
Nick's going to be up there with you filming, so could be one of the best festivals we've seen in many, many years.
And if people want more info, how do they go about it?
GreyCupFestival.ca, BCLions.com. We've been advertising our BC Lions 6-game season ticket packs, so you get one of those, and then you get your seats for the Grey Cup as well. So all kinds of incentives to becoming a season ticket member.
And we will talk about the upcoming home game, the next game after the Hamilton game, which is a home game against the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the world-famous Watermelon Smash a little later on in the program. All right, coming up in the next segment, the next couple of segments, is starting left guard Chris Schleuger. He will join us, talk a little bit about his journey to the CFL and his thoughts on the Lions as they enter the game against Hamilton with a 3-1 record. Again, we're coming to you from Boston Pizza, Central City in Surrey. Big shout out to Yash and his staff for hosting us. This is all a presentation of the good folks at Molson Coors. You're listening to BC Lions on tap on 980 CKNW.
Now, back to more of Lions on Tap, presented by Coors Light. Once again, here are Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski, and Bob the Moj Marjanovic.
It's the Moj. Of course, this is BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW, coming to you tonight from Boston Pizza, Central City in Surrey. Big shout out to Yash and his crew for hosting us. We've been here a couple times, Matt Baker. They've done an outstanding job. $13 pizza lunch specials Monday through Friday, 11 to 3. So check it all out at Boston Pizza, Central City in Surrey. And great job by Yash and his folks.
And tonight is Pasta Tuesday. Our guest here, Chris Schleuger, indulged in the build your own pasta. So you're driving around, you're close by, come on by.
All right, as you mentioned, Bake, our next guest is Chris Schleuger. Chris, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Now, first off, before we even proceed, I've got a beef with you.
Oh, yeah?
Like, you're on the practice roster last year. You played a couple of games. I mean, I'm looking at your name. I'm thinking to myself, I know some German people. They'd be extremely proud of me and the way I get the guttural effect. Chris Schleuger, right? Like Luger, like the gun, right?
Yeah.
Schleuger.
Exactly.
No, it's Slugger.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, Slugger, go get me that beer.
Yep.
No, we got to go back to Schleuger. You're no lineman. You got to be intimidating, right?
I mean, that's how we say it back home, and I mean, everyone just has their own way of saying it. You just kind of just let it go and just let.
You just kind of let it go for the entire year.
Yeah, just let them have their fun and let them know what's up. So.
Hey, first off, thanks for being here tonight at Boston Pizza in Central City. How much fun is it after being on the practice roster for the most part of last year, the injured reserve list, just to go out there and play again?
Man, the first game was amazing. It's just like unleashing Pandora's box, just let everything go, not care what happens, and just really just kind of knock someone in the mouth and just do it again. So it's funner being on the field than watching, so I like that a lot.
It's interesting because I think your story kind of parallels Jarrell Broxton's, and I don't know if you know Jarrell's history. Came up tail end of the year, midway through the year, got into a game, tore his tricep.
In Ottawa, yeah.
In
August.
And wound up missing, a whole bunch of time, and then came back and then, finally got into the lineup and started. So it's like sometimes you got to pay your dues, right?
Exactly, and that's exactly how it kind of seemed that the CFL was. Is like you got to pay your time and do the time, and then you're going to get rewarded. So just stay true to the process and just stay with the plan.
All right, let's go to the beginning here because I got some stuff to get into. You were born in the metropolis of Wesley, Iowa.
I lived in Wesley.
Okay, you lived in Wesley?
I was born in Britt, where my mom worked, and it's like 7 miles away from the town. So that's like the biggest town with the hospital. So.
Wesley, Iowa, I just dug it up.
Yeah.
Population 323.
Yeah.
Do you have a stoplight?
No, we do not. Yeah.
So what was it like growing up in a town that small?
I mean, it was crazy. I mean, I didn't go to school with the kids in the town, so everyone's kind of just from different schools, so everyone just kind of hung out, played backyard football.
So where'd you go to school then?
Oh, I went to where my mom worked in that town.
Okay.
So where I was born, I ended up going to that town because she worked in there. She just took us to school and daycare because my dad worked in Wesley, so he had to be in town because he run roads and like road graders and plow snow and all that. So
how'd you get into football? How'd you get into sports?
I mean, we just kind of started wrestling, and then we didn't have Pop Warner growing up, so then I had to travel to a town that was like 30 minutes away and just play with like some other kids from a different school that they didn't know me. So I was just like, okay, that's kind of cool. And my dad picked me up. I was a manager for my brother's junior high football team, and he'd pick me up after practice. We'd go to Belmont, go to practice, and then come home. So
Yeah, being a team manager, I know this full well. It's an excuse to miss the odd class, too.
yeah,
Right? So,
yep.
you mentioned the cold weather. What hockey? Probably not, right?
No.
What other sports and interests growing up besides football and wrestling?
I mean, we just do your normal track. You know, kind of just you do everything. You play basketball in the driveway, but other than that, I was just kind of wrestling, football, and then track whenever it came around. But mostly as a kid growing up, it was wrestling and football.
You and I were talking a bit when we first arrived here tonight before the show, and you're pretty close to the Twin Cities, right?
Yeah.
Minneapolis, St. Paul. So, given the proximity to that area, did you follow their teams growing up, or what was that like?
I would say my mom's a Minnesota Vikings fan, and my dad's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. So, I mean, we didn't really go up to the games that much. Been to a couple. Went to the Philadelphia Minnesota Vikings playoff game. I think when McNabb and Westbrook were there, maybe.
09, something like that? Or?
Something like that, yeah. And, of course, my brother went with, and he was wearing like a Pittsburgh Steelers jersey, so...
Well, I remember back at the end of training camp in Kamloops when we were doing our golf content and all that, shooting it with you and Will Stanback. I believe if my memory serves correct, you told me you were a 2,000-yard rusher in high school?
I was. Senior year, it was we ran the wing tee, so they kind of not just leaned on me, but, I mean, credit to the O-line for getting me there because obviously I can't do it by myself. And everyone kind of just hates on it because I went to a school with probably 245 kids in the school, so had 45 kids in my class graduating. So I was probably one of the biggest kids on the team. Lucked out. I was athletic and got to run the ball and really kind of do that. So I'm really thankful for that and whatnot. So.
Hey, 2,000-yard rusher in high school. Forget Mackey running the short yardage. You should be coming up behind.
What are
Tyler
we doing?
Packer.
I want to keep that option open, but I don't want to step on too many toes. I just want to do my job, nothing more, nothing less, and just anything to do to help the team.
When did you realize that football could be something that you could turn into a career?
I mean, high school, everyone's like, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to play college football. And then they're like, okay, we got to get the grades. And, of course, I didn't have the grades because I was kind of messing around freshman, sophomore year. And then I had to go to junior college because I wasn't a qualifier out of high school. And then, I mean, you just basically write your own story, create your own path, and just go with it.
You go to the University of Northern Iowa.
Yep, after Iowa Western.
Yeah, and then you wind up at University of Alabama, Birmingham.
Yep.
Where you play with the Blazers.
Yep.
And the infamous Garrett Moreno. Maybe we'll say that for later.
Yeah.
And then you go undrafted in the NFL draft, and you sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about a connection with the family, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was kind of like a dream come true because my dad's a Steelers fan. My brother's a Steelers fan. So, I mean, we got Steelers curtains in the house. And, I mean, my dad got to go to a game, so thankful for that. I mean, it was a preseason game, but he got to go to Lincoln Financial Stadium, and I think that was the only one he went to. So
Philly, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and he came out to the training camp, so we got to see that and really kind of get behind the curtains of everything and see everything that they did. So I think that was a great thing for him, and I just lucked out to be able to have that opportunity.
What was that experience like?
It was amazing. It was like a dream come true, and obviously you didn't want to be starstruck, but at the same time it was just like, holy cow, like you're really here. You get that, you be in the Pittsburgh Steelers uniform, and I mean, it was a surreal feeling.
What happened when you got cut?
Oh, so I got cut, and my mom came out to the Tennessee Titans game, and she drove out there. And after the game, I just I wasn't having a good feeling, and I was like, I'll probably be right behind you on the road. So then they cut me at 3 o'clock and just drove home after that. So
oh, man.
yeah, I mean, it was tough. Sat at home, stewed for a little bit, like everyone would, but eventually got my act together and just kind of just said, hey, we're going to do whatever. If I can play, I can play. So you
end up, ironically, in Saskatchewan to end 2018. And 2019, you end up in Montreal, and it's safe to say getting to the Alouettes was a big break for you. Just talk about that. I mean, obviously, you first cross paths with VA there.
Yeah.
That whole experience, what did it do for you, Chris?
I mean, as soon as I got up to CFL, I was like that typical American. I didn't want anything to do with it. And then all of a sudden, I started playing and I started getting into it. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to make a career out of this. So I'm going to put everything I have into this. And, I mean, it ain't about NFL anymore. It's just about as long as I can play.
Well, Baker just mentioned this, and I'm not sure the average fan would know this, but you and Vernon Adams Jr. are like this. You guys are tight. That started in Montreal, I'm guessing. And like, how did you guys become such close friends?
One time during training camp, I was sitting at lunch. I just kind of sat by myself, and he come over and sat by me and just like was talking to me, and I was just like, I didn't really want to be there. And then he's just like, hey man, like keep working, keep doing your thing and whatnot. So and he was actually like a door down from me in the halls, and our other boy Gino Lewis was in there too. So I kind of got into the trio with that, and just lucked out having them. And being around Vernon, he just kind of pushes you and keeps you in track and really wants the best out of you to put your best foot forward.
Now you're living with them, right? Like you're renting the basement suite or something?
No, I'm renting the den. I'm renting the den, so ain't a big room, but
got the Murphy bed in there? Or
yeah, what? No. I upgraded from the Murphy bed. I had the Murphy bed last year, so.
You know the one thing about Vernon, though, and I'm sure you'll probably agree with this, dude is always working at his craft. Right?
Yes.
I mean, you can go to a game 3 hours before he's out there, he's like pretending he's running a drive, he's visualizing stuff, but even when I'm on the plane, if we're going to a city, Vernon usually sits close to where we sit, where Julia and I sit, and he's looking at his wristband. He's looking at the play sheet, the call sheet for the game.
Yeah.
And then when you're coming home, he's one of the first people to get the iPad out and look at what happened in that game. He's always working on his craft. And not only that, but he's setting an example for the group. He's the first one there, last one to leave.
Exactly.
And the other thing, too, is that, he kind of drags people along with him by making that example, right?
Exactly. I was his roommate after he came back from Kamloops, and we had a preseason game. He gave me this little call sheet, and he goes, all right, read them off to me. So I'm reading them off. He's going through his reads, saying what he's got. And so I kind of learned a lot doing that. And, you got to flip the play. It's written up for the left hash or something. You got to flip it for him or something like that. So I just have been lucky enough to do that, and I mean, he looks out for me, I look out for him. So,
before we move along and talk about the game that was and the game coming up, you're part of an offensive line now that has gone 3 consecutive weeks, if I'm not mistaken, Big, no sacks allowed, and that hasn't occurred since 2018, which is amazing considering you're a new starter at left guard and Tyler Packer, the Lions' best video gamer, I still have a problem saying that, is a starting center, and he's new as well, right? But I mean, the fact that you got 2 pieces, and for people who don't realize, number one, Tyler's got to make all the calls. He's got to be the guy, and it's great having Sook beside him, but he's got to be the guy that makes all the calls, identifies the front, assigns the blocking schemes to the offensive line, and then you also you have the fact that you have to have that nonverbal communication between a center and a guard and a tackle, right?
Everyone's got to be on the same page.
Yeah, they got to be on the same page. So for this offensive line to do that in 3 weeks, and it be the first 3 weeks of that group playing together, pretty amazing accomplishment.
It definitely is, and I mean, we can't take all the credit because obviously you've seen the games.
Yeah.
Vernon, he's definitely Houdini back there, so what I'm saying, he kind of helps us out too. So yeah, we don't give up sacks, but he's also included in that too because he has to get out and do his thing too.
Yeah, great point, because sometimes they bring 8, you got 6, and he hits the hot receiver, whatever the case may be. All right, much more coming up with Chris. I don't want to say Schleuger. No, it's Chris Schleuger.
Big baseball.
Starting left guard for the BC Lions. We'll get his thoughts on the game that was against the Edmonton Elks, also the upcoming game against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. This is BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW.
Now back to more of Lions on Tap, presented by Coors Light. Once again, here are Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski, and Bob the Moj Marjanovic.
This is BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW. We're coming to you live from Boston Pizza, Central City in Surrey. And again, a big shout out to Yash and his crew for having us. And you got to check out Boston Pizza, Central City in Surrey. $13 pizza lunch specials Monday through Friday, 11 to 3. So check it all out. Of course, we're coming to you here as a presentation of the good folks at Molson Coors as well. Chris Schleuger BC Lions starting left guard, is our guest. It's the Moj, along with Matt Baker and Nick Kowalski. Chris, let's go back to the Edmonton game and start there. Just your assessment of what you saw from your team.
I mean, we left a lot of points on the board, and I mean, as soon as we get in the red zone, we got to think we got to finish. And obviously, every time we're thinking finish, but at the same time, we just got to take it one play at a time. Don't get too far ahead, and just work on first downs, getting yards on first down. So.
Yeah, second and short every time, right? Or more often, obviously, sets you up for more success. We touched on this in the opening, though, and, you want to fix the starts and a couple of other things, but the fact Vernon has, I think he completed a pass, at least one pass to 8 different guys. Of course, he got Stanback involved in the air attack there on the opening half touchdown. The fact that Vernon is spreading it around and using everybody, I mean, how beneficial is that?
I mean, that's great for us because as soon as they can't double team one receiver, because we'll just go to another one, and then if they do that, then we're just going to go to the run game and just start moving the chains on that. So we just got to keep up in everything we do and just be on our P's and Q's and just make sure we execute what's called and all that.
I know looking at the Lions social media from last Thursday, a big talking point that people were excited about and a lot of hype about was seeing David Mackey run the short yardage, and that's something that obviously you're heavily involved in as an offensive lineman. So is that exciting for you? And is short yardage something you even enjoy, or is that something you're like you just got to dive forward for 2 yards here?
I mean, I like doing it if we're going straight forward. I don't like if we're trying to get the edge because now we're starting to just try to run around people. It's just we just got to get up to the line and just go forward and just make a will of wanting to move the D tackles that want to try to submarine us,
You were talking about running backs in the running game, I guess. William Stanback. Man, I get a thrill just watching this guy play. And I've used this over and over, and I'll use it again. He reminds me of a baseball player, speaking of slugger.
Yeah.
He's one of those sluggers that goes up there. He doesn't get cheated, ever.
Yeah.
Like, every time he runs the ball hard.
Exactly.
Right? And I'm just like, there was a game this weekend where the game was kind of on the line, and a running back ran out of bounds with about, 2.5 minutes left to go in the game. And I was thinking to myself, that would never happen with Stanback. Like, he would go through you rather than want to run out of bounds. But what does that do for the offensive line and how it inspires you guys?
That just inspires us because as soon as we see that and the coaches see that, it's like, hey, we got the run game going. He's falling forward. We're going to get at least 3 yards. So as soon as we do that and he's just falling forward, it's just lean on that, and then we can do whatever we want next. Because they're going to be filling the box and bringing everybody in, and then now we have options to go to.
Would you like to see, and I'm not putting Jordan McSimic on the hot seat, but just overall philosophy-wise, the commitment to the run game? Because when you talk to offensive linemen, they love it when you just keep hammering away. And usually by the third, especially the fourth quarter, that's your time then.
Yeah, I would say, everyone loves run blocking because, you just got to move the guy in front of you, and it's not where you have to kind of do pass sets and going backwards. So it's your forward really being the attacker, the aggressor. So, Jordan does a great call with his play call, moves it around, moves the pocket, all that. So, his play call is great. We just got to be better on the run.
Hamilton Sunday, some longer preparation time this week. We touched on it a bit, but how refreshing is it to kind of I don't want to say ease your way into the work week, but have a few extra days to sort of get your mind right and heal up a little bit because everyone's battling bumps and bruises. A little refreshing this week, Chris?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely refreshing because, those short weeks, it's like you got 2 days in one. So you got to go second and long and red zone on one day, whereas we can have everything broke down into, just open field. Then we got second and long, and then we got red zone. So you get to really chop at all the game.
What kind of challenge does Hamilton bring defensively?
They got a good D-line, so we're going to have to be ready to go at that and just make sure we're getting the calls and getting who we're supposed to be blocking.
We sort of talked about this earlier off the top, but Hamilton's obviously winless on the season 2, 0-4, but I'm sure you guys have heard it already on day 0. Tell me why that doesn't matter.
Because like Coach Campbell says, it's all about us. Like, if we do what we can do, then we're going to be scary. So as soon as you start worrying about something else, you're not fully invested in yourself, and that's when you get lackadaisical and let one slip. And we don't want to let one slip. So we're just basically hey, let's make sure we do all of our executions right and make the plays go.
We were talking about this earlier, but there's so much room for improvement with this team, right? It's still not firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
Right? there's a lot of things that can be cleaned up.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the scary part about it because right now, we're new to kind of getting in the rhythm. But as soon as we get that rhythm, and then we're going to be really a force to be messed with.
What's it mean to get Keon Hatcher and TJ Lee back in the lineup? Well, at least practicing with you guys. Will probably be in the lineup in that game against Calgary. But just to see those two all-stars out there working out with you.
It's great, and obviously they're motivating everybody, keeping everybody up, and telling them like, hey, I'm watching, like, keep it up, keep doing this, you need to do this. So it's almost like an extra set of eyes, just kind of helping us get to where we're going. So yeah, they're on the sideline, but yet they're still invested in it.
Well, you can hear Hatcher from like 3 blocks away every time. Like I think
Exactly.
Hollins comes down with a football or something.
Yeah.
They can sit there and hear him and all that. But you get those two guys back, and the other thing, Nathan Cherry's coming back, Francis Bammy. I mean, 2 guys on the D-line, they're going to help with the rotation. And I tell people, don't go to sleep on Nathan Cherry. He's a good player.
Exactly.
And it's funny because we were in camp 2 years ago, and it was, I guess 3 years. It was Nathan's first year. And there was Tim Bonner, Josh Banks, 2 years ago. Thanks, Banks. Tim Bonner, Josh Banks, and there's someone else, Boom Guachin, said, who's impressed you? And for them to, all 3 of them unanimously say, Nate Dogg, right? And that's what they were calling him.
Yeah.
And for them to call out a Canadian kid,
Right,
was pretty impressive. But those 3 guys noticed how well he was playing. And he's going to be a vital part of that rotation moving forward.
And it's just it's good to see people grow in the game and just get better over time. So that's just a positive to see, and he's going in the right way. So,
are you surprised at how tight the games have been this year in the CFL? Because if you look at every weekend, last weekend included, I mean, they're all coming down to field goals, walk-off field goals.
yeah, but I mean, those are the intense games, and you don't want them at the time, but like they're the best games to be a part of. You don't want to be in the blowouts like, okay, we're up 40 or we're down 20,
Yeah.
But obviously the ones that you're in it, it's like, hey, you're never gonna not play, you know what I mean? So you're playing all 60 minutes.
You like playing in Hamilton?
I love playing in Hamilton. I like playing anywhere I can play. So.
All right. So, okay, we're going to further this a little bit more. But of all the CFL cities, do you have a favorite?
I mean, Winnipeg is the loudest. That's a great atmosphere. Saskatchewan, Montreal, BC when we got good crowds.
Yeah.
And then Hamilton, Ottawa's decent. Toronto, played there a couple times, but it's always a good.
See, I think you probably go with Montreal, but I'm just thinking, here's a small town Iowa boy goes into Montreal. You must be like a kid in a candy store.
Right, exactly. You get like 10,000 in the fans. It's like, golly.
How's your French? Do you work on your French at all?
I just know a little bit. My buddy had his kids, and he was teaching them French, so I'm just getting the basics, just the little kid.
Yeah.
The thing about Montreal that many people come to mind is the horn.
Yeah.
Singular. It's one guy with a horn.
Exactly.
That's what people. It's not a bunch of horns. But
exactly.
that season ticket holder there. Do you ever interact with him, or did you ever meet him? Or
no, but I mean, as like you watch the games, you hear that tee 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 tee. That's like okay, yeah.
You wouldn't think it's just one guy, right?
Right. Exactly. No, that's definitely a key staple to the game too. I feel like.
Back to Hamilton though, Moj hit on it. It can be loud there. The trash talking there is a little more in good fun, I think. But I think other players have told us before, the fans in Hamilton do their research.
Yeah.
So they might know about your history, Iowa, everything. Is that part fun? Or?
Yeah, it is fun because like they really took the time to dig in and try to get some, not dirt on you, but try to see what will get you fired up or whatnot. And you just got to kind of block it out and just have fun with them.
Well, you going to hit them back? Because I was looking at the Ticats depth chart, and there's Nick Usher on their team. Nick Usher's quietly having a great season.
He had a good game the other night.
The whole season, I would say. David Menard's there. So are you someone who's indulging in that, or is it all business on the field?
It's all business on the field, and I mean, Usher's a great player. Played with him in Montreal. Played against him before he got into Montreal, and Menard was there, great player. And obviously, there's no like not good players. Everyone's good, and you're gonna have to be on everything to be able to be locked in.
No trash talk though for you?
I mean, I'll trash talk a little bit, but if I get too tired at long drives, just kind of save my energy for the task at hand.
So, like when you're watching film, do you watch it from an overall perspective and look what the defense does, or you also break it down and watch what the guy that you're lining up against does against you?
I mean, I feel like I kind of watch it as like I see what they did and try to see if that worked, and try to watch. I hardly watch like what they do kind of. It's like we'll get like a pass rush sheet and like he does this and this, and then you watch it, okay, yep. But I mean, to be able to be like, okay, he's gonna do that move right now. It's just like I think that's a lot of thinking, and I was trying to be focused on like, hey, I gotta do this, I gotta have this aiming point, hands inside. and just go with that.
That's what the coaching staff always talks about.
Yeah.
We focus on what we do.
Exactly.
Not what they do. Right?
Exactly.
Be the hammer and, go out there and just dictate to them.
Exactly.
The way you want to do it. And you got the pieces on the offense to do it too, right? So.
Oh, yeah.
Offensive linemen. You've got that whole crew of them, right? I've heard stories that Sook's the loudest guy in the huddle.
Yeah, he's basically like the voice of the huddle because, he's just like the OG basically. And he's obviously.
Dude's the OG on the plane coming home every time. It's just like, no.
Yeah, no, he's got the breakdown speech. He gets us right. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just gets us ready to play. And I don't think anyone can do it but him.
Who's the quietest?
Shoot, I don't even know. Jarrell's pretty quiet. I'm pretty quiet. Packer's pretty quiet. So there's a lot. Like, Sook's basically like up here, and it's like
it's no debate who the loudest guy is.
So.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, before we let you go, thank you so much for stopping by. It was great having you here, and of course, talking Lions football with you, and continued success as the starting left guard for the Lions.
Thank you. It was a great opportunity to be here, and I'm thankful for it.
There you go, Chris Schleuger. Starting left guard for your BC Lions, stopping by tonight.
And VA's roommate.
And VA's roommate.
Yeah,
Best buddy. Best buddy.
Best buddy.
Step brothers.
All right, before we get to the break, tell us about Watermelon Smash, Matt, the next home game.
Yes, Moj. The second annual Watermelon Smash last year was a big hit. The Lions got a big win. 1 week from Saturday, July 13th. The BC Lions Backyard Bash, we call it at Watermelon Smash. 11 a.m., Terry Fox Plaza. There's going to be some great showdowns between Lions and Rider fans. I think Dwayne Vanneau, our president, rumor has it he's going to be defending his title. Watermelon eating contest against his Saskatchewan.
Hold on a second here. Have you guys seen the prices of watermelons lately?
Well,
this might bankrupt Damar, for crying out loud. I saw something in Haida Gwaii. They had half a watermelon up in the Haida Gwaii. It was like $45 for half a watermelon. It was on Twitter. These things are expensive.
Get Chaika to sell a sponsor or something. See if we can. But, you heard that, though. Watermelon eating contest, right? So I know last year was a big hit. Molson Coors beverages for $5. 11 a.m. it starts, so a few hours before pregame if you want to.
Julio, maybe.
Is that Caesar Bar? Is that Caesar Bar back?
I don't see anything about a Caesar Bar here.
I walked by last Thursday. It looked very enticing.
We've got live music.
The Caesar Bar or the people that were drinking the Caesars?
The bar. There's a lot of options. It's nice and customizable. I'd recommend having it back.
Okay. Carolyn, if you're listening, get the Caesar Bar back.
And I'm not even a Caesar guy. It look cool.
No. We should do it every game. I agree. Live music from Josephine and the guys. How good is that? We've got roaming entertainment. We mentioned the watermelon eating contest. We're going to have alumni from both the Lions and the Riders. So moral of the story, just be at Terry Fox Plaza at 11 a.m. Tickets start at $25 for adults. Youth 17 and under. How cool is this? $15 tickets if you're 17 and under. Tickets are moving fast. We may have some things to say tomorrow about tickets and capacity. So just stay tuned, as they say in the business.
Might be something about the upper bowl. I don't know.
You never know. Maybe. Watermelon Smash, Saturday, July 13th, Lions and Riders.
All right, great stuff. Again, we're coming to you from Boston Pizza in Central City in Surrey. And a big shout out to Yash and his staff. And again, a reminder, $13 pizza lunch specials Monday through Friday, 11 to 3 right here at Boston Pizza Central City in Surrey. All right, coming up next, it's Kowalski's World Famous Trivia. You're listening to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW.
This is Lions on Tap, presented by Coors Light, the chill choice and official beer of the BC Lions. Now it's time for Nick Kowalski's World Famous Trivia.
It's the Moj, Bob Marjanovic, along with Matt Baker and Nick Kowalski, coming to you from Boston Pizza in Central City, Surrey. Again, Yash and his staff, a big shout out to them. I'll tell you one thing, it's weird. I come to Boston Pizza, you know what I order, Bakes, Nick? I ordered the baked chicken wings.
You always get
the
them.
Cajun rubs.
You always get those.
Those are good.
So good.
They are.
And the thing is, you're trying to eat healthy, all of those things. You go to some places and you get chicken wings and they're you got to take a shower afterwards. They're lathered in sauce and deep fried and this and that. These chicken wings, they're baked. They got a nice dry rub on them.
You offset it with a salad, I saw you.
And a salad
good.
to boot.
Yeah.
So, healthy alternatives. Just saying, for people like, me trying to lose a little weight. But It was tremendous, and that's one of my favorite dishes here at Boston Pizza. So if you ever want to kind of venture away from the pizza, they got so much more than pizza.
Yeah.
You get like that baked chicken wings, Cajun rub. You'll thank me later.
I swear by the Memphis chicken sandwich here, too.
Good.
Always have, yeah.
Did the Boston Brute tonight myself, so
You're
good.
a brute type of guy, so.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go. Former All-Star guard for the North Delta Huskies back in the day.
Twice. Yeah.
Two-time All-Star guard.
Yep.
5'10", 225. You had the size back in
The other
day.
guy's eligible might have been suspended or something. I don't know how I got it.
All right, what do you got for us tonight, Nick?
So, as we mentioned earlier, if Hamilton loses to the Lions this week, they will drop to 0-5. Have you guys heard of a famous 0-5 CFL team?
Yeah, it kind of rings a bell, doesn't it?
2011 BC
Yes.
Lions obviously is the aforementioned 0-5 team. So when the BC Lions dropped to 0-5 back on July 28th, 2011, can you name me their depth chart? So all their starting lineup players.
Travis Lulay,
That's the quarterback.
Jamal Robertson,
Running back,
There you go.
correct.
Paris Jackson,
G-Roy Simon.
G-Roy
Paris
Simon.
Jackson is incorrect.
G-Roy Simon.
I dug up in our OneDrive the actual depth chart. So Paris Jackson is incorrect.
So
It's
he
Yeah.
was already off by that point.
Kier Johnson.
incorrect.
Incorrect. Okay.
That's two incorrects already.
Ty Williams,
Ty Williams.
defense.
There's a
Angus Reid.
You got. I'll give you Travis.
Angus Reid.
Travis.
Angus Reid. Jovan Olafioye.
There you go. Angus Reid. Olafoy is the right tackle.
Yeah.
Angus Reid's
Rob
the center.
Murphy.
Incorrect.
No.
They're gone by
it was
then.
gone by then.
We have the depth chart here right in front of us.
Let's
too.
just go. I'm just going to offense and defense. Let's go. Kareem Smith.
Kareem Smith is incorrect.
Solomon Elamimian.
There
Corey
you go.
Banks.
Don't overthink it. Elamimi and Banks. This is
Brent Johnson.
Anton McKenzie.
Mackenzie's correct. Brent Johnson's incorrect. But if you guys look at this depth chart here, it's actually a 3-4.
Brent
that they're playing.
Johnson was incorrect.
Yep.
Who didn't
I
play that?
I have the depth chart on OneDrive.
Okay.
All right,
From
you're looking at
BC
some
Lions.
odd depth chart.
The official
Yeah,
BC
we might
Lions
have to
depth chart.
submit a protest here. I don't know.
It's a 3-4 though, so there are three defensive
Dante
linemen.
Marsh.
That's correct.
Corey Banks.
Yeah, you got
Ryan
Banks.
Phillips.
Ryan Phillips.
Yeah, RP, the weak side half. You're missing
Not Baron Miles.
You're missing a safety, all three defensive linemen. You're missing a good linebacker.
Adam Bighill.
Yeah, Adam
See,
Bighill.
Adam Bighill didn't start.
He didn't start.
It was it was Brent Johnson that started, and Bighill was out of there. So that's,
Anyway,
that's
let's-
incorrect. But
let's
we'll let
trust
you
the
off.
young fella here.
I literally pulled
Depth
this
chart
from
was
BC
incorrect. It's one of
Lions.
those propaganda depth charts. They send
We got specialist Paul McCallum.
Paul McCallum's correct. I got a long snapper and a returner here too.
Long
Tyson
snapper
Craig.
Tyson Craigs.
Incorrect.
Incorrect. He was 06.
Okay.
He was 06.
DM are the initials for the long snapper.
I remember the dude. He had long hair.
McCullough.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dan
McCullough.
McCullough.
That's-
You guys are missing 4 receivers here too.
Yeah.
You only-
Jason Claremont.
Incorrect.
Courtney Taylor.
Incorrect.
Wow.
Look at you guys.
We see
We got. You guys will be. These are obvious ones. SG initials.
Yes.
Sean Gore.
Sean Gore.
Yeah, good job.
We got an AF initials.
Akeem Foster.
Yep.
There we go. This is all coming. See.
This is the guy that was starting ahead of Paris. The KP initials.
Oh.
Kelly.
Nope. Famous, related to Jason Tucker, this guy. There's a famous moment with Jason Tucker involved with this guy.
Got me.
Carlin Bruce wasn't here yet, right?
Alan Bruce had not arrived, but this receiver is Kamau Peterson.
Kamau Peterson. There you go.
Got me on that one.
Defensive or offensive lineman.
Dean Valley.
Yep, that's
Dean
How do I not get
Because
Dean
you
Valley
look
right
like
away?
Dean Valley.
Exactly.
That's the right guard.
Yeah.
You're missing
You
the
look
left
like his
tackle.
little brother.
You're missing left tackle, left guard. We got BA and JN for initials.
Jesse Newman.
Yeah, that's the left guard.
And then BA was the other one.
Yep.
Left tackle.
Left tackle, sorry, I meant. Yeah, this is a pretty obvious one. I know this name.
BA. Yeah. See, we're gonna kick ourselves, and this is over.
Ben Archibald.
Ben Archibald. There we go.
And
So we're
then
still missing 3 D linemen here.
You're missing the safety. He's a famous safety. You see him on your TVs a lot now.
David Sanchez.
Davis Sanchez.
Starting
There we go.
safety.
North Delta. I'm ashamed.
Halfback JR are the initials.
JR.
I don't think he had much time with the Lions, this guy. So maybe JR Ruffin. Do you know the name?
No.
I was starting strong.
I know the
half.
name, but yeah. Okay.
And then Arlen Bruce had not arrived, so there's a receiver with DC as initials. I don't know those names. So maybe
DC.
it could be a
I'm
niche
working.
name.
Well, with your depth chart, I don't know where you're coming up with these names.
I slip them
The
over.
official-
Okay, who's DC?
I went and literally read BC Lions database and
Who's
pulled this.
DC?
Dobson Collins.
Oh,
Yeah.
Never heard of him.
You got Tim
Come on,
Brown.
you were doing the sidelines. You don't
Yeah.
remember?
No,
how
not
about
Dobson
these-
Collins.
How about these D linemen? Brent Johnson was actually listed as a backup
Which
defensive
is-
end.
That's bogus.
Yeah.
But
Talk to was it Jamie Cardinal back then that was setting this?
yes, we'll call Jamie right away here. Let's get him on the line.
Defensive lineman, though, we got Aaron Hunt.
Oh God.
Oh.
Eric
See,
Taylor is
How
a D
did I
tackle.
forget
Aaron
Aaron
the
Hunt
nose.
and Khalif Mitchell?
No, he was the backup D tackle.
So, yeah, another guy who's a starter who's a backup.
KW was the other starter.
Karan Williams.
Yep,
There
we go.
Yeah.
That's officially,
we did okay.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Aaron Hunt. I mean, I should.
Yeah, should be the first
Aaron
one
Hunt,
we
you know
had.
where he's at now? He's at Baylor.
Yep.
And the reason I know that is because we follow each other on Instagram. And, well, let's just say Aaron got some jambalaya from me one time. Went to a buddy's place. We had a big jambalaya NFL Sunday. Loved the jambalaya. So I said, you owe me a favor. You got to get some swag up for Jarrell Broxton. So Broxton, any day now, supposedly, according to Aaron Hunt, who's working with Baylor, he's going to get a big box of Baylor swag because teams do that for their grads, right?
Aaron Hunt was the most outstanding rookie in the CFL. He was like a 5-time All-Star too, and yeah.
And they had that was right in the middle of that run where it had a whole bunch of BC Lions that were Rookie of the Years, right? What, 4 or 5 years?
Stephon Logan, a bunch of guys.
You know
Martell Mallett.
Do you know what I remember about that 0-5 team that went on to win the Grey Cup? We've got a couple of minutes here. Was that when that team was 0-5, they made some personnel changes. Jamal Robertson got replaced by Andrew Harris. Paris Jackson might have been replaced even earlier by one of those receivers that you mentioned. But the guys that got replaced, instead of sulking and whining and, just kind of doing their own thing, almost became like quasi-coaches, right? And it was just a real, everybody pulling on the rope to get out of the mess that they were in. And they just went on a heater and wound up winning a Grey Cup. And I'll say one thing, too, with the Grey Cup in Vancouver this year. Nothing beats winning a Grey Cup at home. I was working the Grey Cup broadcast doing the sidelines, and Rick Ball and Julio were doing the play-by-play and color respectively. But when you win a Grey Cup at home, it's something, it's magical. It really is.
Well, it's obviously the goal this season, and I literally have this depth chart in front of me here. So there you go. Brent Johnson, Khalif Mitchell, Kareem Smith as the backups, Paris Jackson as a backup. You got Kelly Bates as a backup offensive lineman.
Interesting.
J.R. LaRoe as backup safety. So it's literally from the BC Lions
I'll tell you
database.
one thing. It's funny. I had lunch with or dinner with Solomon El-Amimian last week, and he was talking about guys that were like the most intimidating guys that he'd ever played with. Khalif Mitchell is the name that popped out of his mouth. And you know what Khalif Mitchell's doing right now?
He's on Salt Spring Island.
He's on Salt Spring Island.
The second?
He's a farmer.
Yeah, he's farming herbs and stuff.
Yeah.
Go to Facebook or go to LinkedIn, Google Khalif Mitchell, and you'll find out that he's got some farm out in Salt Spring, and he's just doing herbs and stuff. I mean, it's mind-boggling because he was he was a beast.
He was a character.
Yeah. Well, remember the part where he almost ripped the guy's arm out of his sock and got suspended?
He did the
offensive lineman on Edmonton.
In Edmonton.
Yeah.
Simeon Rotier, I think it was.
Yes. Good memory, Big. So we can remember that stuff, but we can't remember
Can't remember Aaron Hunt starting.
That wasn't good.
Yeah.
All right, that's a wrap for us tonight. A big thank you to everybody behind the scenes. Again, our host, Yash, for doing a great job as usual here at Boston Pizza at Central City in Surrey. Again, they have those $13 pizza lunch specials Monday through Friday from 11 to 3. Big thank you to our producer on site, Mr. Trevor Martin's doing a tremendous job as usual. All the people that showed up today, Lions fans, thank you. Thank you very much for showing up here at Boston Pizza in Central Surrey. And a big thank you as well to our guest tonight, Chris Schleuger. Yeah, see, we got people in the audience saying it should be Schleuger. Sounds so much.
We got a fellow German up here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Very quickly, Bakes. Next home game, Saskatchewan. On date
Saturday, July 13th.
All right, and again, we have a broadcast coming up this Sunday. Kickoff 3:00 against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Show the kickoff. Probably kickoff at 4. Pregame at 3 on CKNW. And we'll look forward to giving you the call from Hamilton. Again, that's a wrap for us tonight. Big thank you to everybody that showed up and our guest, Chris Schleuger. You know what I'm going to tell you before we get out of here? Do what you got to do. Go for it on 3rd and short. Just do us a favor. Be safe. You've been listening to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW.